You're watching the 4 o'clock news on Oklahoma's News 4.
Today for your family, co-parenting after divorce can be challenging to say the least, but there are proven methods to help keep communication lines open and increase cooperation, and both parents and children, of course, will benefit. Joining us via Zoom is Jeff Steiner, Executive Director of the Dad's Resource Center. And Jeff, divorce is often filled with explosive emotions. So what do you believe is the first step in cooperating together as parents?
Well, mothers and fathers give different but equally important things to their children, who need both of them actively involved throughout their childhood to have the best chance of being successful when they become adults. Because of this, even if a relationship has gone bad, mom and dad need to go their separate ways, there's a commitment on both of their parts that first and foremost, they need to personally stay engaged and involved in their children's lives. But they also must recognize the importance of the other parent being active and involved in their children's lives and enable and make that to happen. So regardless of what has happened in the past, what anyone has said or done, the first priority separated parents need to make is to say, hey, this is our shared interest, and we're going to work together collegially, respectfully with one another to make sure that our sons and daughters can have both of us there growing up.
Right, and no bad mouthing of the other parent, as that just puts the child in the middle. And obviously communication is so important, but does that mean face-to-face discussions are required?
It does not. Now, most separated parents are able to work it out in a manner in which they can talk in person or over the phone. Some folks, it's a little bit harder, and modern communications actually help with that, texts or emails, because it gives you some air. You have time that you can calm down, clear your head, think things out, and even word things in a way that the other parent may hear it a little bit better. So that's useful when it's a tense relationship that you have with the other parent. But there also are third-party apps now that are made specifically for parents who are struggling with custody. These apps document all communications and allow third parties to be able to observe them real time or after the fact. So if there's some sort of disagreement or an accusation, people can look and see what actually occurred with their communications. This creates accountability and helps so there's really extreme contested custody situations.
All right, let's move on to another source of friction now, scheduling. What happens when you both want the kids at the same time?
All separated families go through 3 stages: the initial reorganization, the co-parenting stage, and the personal growth stage. That initial reorganization stage, that's when you figure these things out. You answer the basic questions: where are the children going to be, when, and how are they going to be supported? Now, at this point, you may want to utilize family courts, mediation, those types of things. But once you establish those things, you need to move into co-parenting, where you're working with the other parent to figure out how you're going to have your own lives while having this shared entity, which is your children. So it's super important that parents, again, the focus we noted in the first question, communicate in that manner.
Okay. Another issue is different house rules or behavior rules at each parent's house. So how can parents make it easier for their kids?
Well, again, this is one of these things where you have to respect the other person in a collegial and respectful manner. When you have these disagreements, it's hurting the children, right? It's hurting the children from a behavioral standpoint because they get confused, but it also highlights that mom and dad are not on the same page. Again, if you're not moving through the co-parenting stage, working towards that phase where you're both evolving and having personal growth and having a life without each other, your children can't advance to that point themselves. They remain stuck behind where you are. So it's just one of those fundamental aspects of co-parenting that even though you may be doing things differently in your own home and with the children in your own way, you have to figure out a way that you respect what the other parent is and reinforce what they're trying to do on that end.
All right, Jeff Steiner, thanks so much for being here today.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for having me.
And the Dad's Resource Center provides education, resources, and advocacy for dads who are separated or divorced and determined to be responsible fathers. You can get more information at dadsrc.org.